That was all at 100 BPM. If anybody wanted to take loops from it or samples, I know the click's in there, so I'm going to try to make some of these samples available. But this is basically my recording techniques. 3 microphones. I have one on the kick drum, dynamic microphone. It's like a SM58 clone. I have an SM57 on the snare drum, and then I have a Lewitt LCT240 Pro condenser up here that I'm talking into right now. That does the room. So I do 3 microphones, similar like Glyn John style. One on the snare, one on the kick, and the one that's in the room. And that's pretty much all I do. The sound that you guys are hearing and that I'm going to mix down in a minute is basically that same thing. This is how I do all my drum loops when I'm making packs. So today was just the basics of sampling drums. So you saw me do one shots where I hit each drum like one time. That was very, very beginning. And then I played like a variation of a beat. Now, there's a key to this, and I'm going to mention this because if you have not gone and watched the Pocket Queen's channel, I'm going to tell everybody just to go do that. She has taught me a lot about staying in the pocket and playing the same beat over and over again. And that way you kind of get into this like groove or this loop. And in the next beat, I'm going to experiment on just trying to stay on a groove and not do as many fills. The other thing I like to try to mention in years of studying and playing drums and recording them, be careful how much you open and close your hi-hats. Sometimes when I get recording, I get a little excited. I open and close the hi-hat too much. One of my key things is that I've learned over the years is I try to open the hi-hat a little bit less just so I get a tighter sound of the drums. And if I want to sample them, then I have more luck separating the drums than having this open hi-hat in everything that I've sampled. So that's just for me personally. Now, everybody else do it your own way. I'm just telling you what I've learned on my journey with recording drums. And again, thanks for watching. If you're watching, I'm going to switch BPMs, and then I'm going to go back to recording. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to show you guys how I chop everything up. So we're just going to do like 1 or 2 more rhythms, and then I'll show you the cut up, and then we'll be done, okay? Thanks for watching. Welcome. And today it's Wednesday. I have the day off somehow. It's the 26th of March. There is also a setting in Ableton that says show the tempo in the scene. That's how I change tempo and just keep jumping from different ones without having to go to new sets in Ableton. So if you're ever wondering, you can look up that function as well. And again, that's just like an example of me going over a tempo. So I'm trying to do like the same thing. I'm trying not to open the hi-hat too much. I'm trying to stay on a groove, right? Now that one's a little strange. And I am trying to do stranger grooves. We're going to try to do another one here, okay? So again, that click is always in my ear. There are no speakers on in the room for no feedback. And that's exactly how I record. It's just 3 microphones. They're dry. There are no plugins on the mics as I record either. It's just dry recording. So if anybody's wondering my technique right now, I always put the stuff on the drums later. There might be a slight amount of reverb on the snare channel, but that's it. I don't do anything else. So just so you guys know, that helps me stay on the beat with no effects, right? Okay. Sorry, that click track was just like banging off. I know it's very difficult to listen to. As a drummer, I could tell everybody that I've gotten very, very, I would say, intimate with the drum track, right? And, you know, it's not a mystery that you have to get really good at using the click. You know, that's just part of the game, right? So if anybody wonders, I would just say get good at it, because if you don't, you're going to have a really hard time playing ahead and behind the beat. And I do a lot of shuffle, you know, like, so there's a lot of weird swing to what I do. And I think that's what makes you who you are as a drummer, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about what I tend to do after I've recorded everything. And this is hopefully going to show everybody all my secrets. And this is any secret to anybody that's making any pack or any loops or anything that's pack or loop based. So when I work on something and I want to focus and I want to make a drum beat, and this is going to be for material later. Maybe it's 10 in the morning like it is now, and then it's 2 a.m. and I need drums. Well, I've already played those, so my neighbors aren't like, this guy's out of his mind. Even though I live in a house, I just want to respect the neighborhood. So what you're looking at now is we're in Ableton. Hopefully, let's make sure. All right, so in Ableton, I have 3 tracks of audio. And the secret here is basically I'm going to take the group, which is everything I've recorded, and I'm going to record it into this audio track over here. All right, so you're going to hear me cut out for a second. And hopefully I just came back. Okay, so, and again, this is like drums 101. So I've recorded everything, and let me get my voice back to where I was before. Sorry. It's probably like this. So this idea that when we make music, you really have to, like, I start learning the time grid really good because that's how I record. And when I'm going to take a recording now and I'm going to make loops, there's a couple ways you can do it. The long way would be trying to cut everything in real time over here. That starts to make me like nervous. So I'm going to say external audio from my drum set. So I'm just taking the whole set as a mix down. And I turn this recording monitor off so I don't blow my ears out. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the drum set, and I don't double the drums, but I'm going to record it into its own audio track as a stereo track. So I recorded them as 3 mono tracks, and that was to get everything to be, I don't know, recorded. So it's a kick drum track, it's a snare drum track, and it's an overhead. And the samples were me doing that. I played the whole drum set. So hopefully you guys can see this, like one long take. Same with the first ones. And when I hit play on the scene, you switch tempos. So the original tempo was, I believe, 100. Is what I recorded at. And you can double click your clips and it should tell you down there 100 BPM. So now, like, you've recorded your drums, your scenes have the tempos, and now I'm just going to sample all of that stuff onto audio number 5. Now I'm talking on channel 6 so you guys can hear me on stream, but this still shouldn't be recorded because it's not in the track that we're on, right? So and sorry, I have a couple bar counting. All right, there we go. Okay. So we're sampling the drums on the channel, was it 5? So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. And it's one just long sample. That's what we're doing. We're sampling the drums right now. I did a little bit of a samba. Not that I'm good at it yet. Or castaneto, is that what that's called? I'm not good at it. Okay, but like what I do is now, yeah. And these are like rolls. Samplers love this stuff, you know, just hi-hats. And you can see I'm playing, those are quarter note. These are eighth note, 16th note hi-hats. And then just kick drum. There's a crash. And this is what I call sampler food, right? Okay, I try not to talk that whole time because if anybody at home is stealing these samples, you can steal my samples. Was that a hint? Yeah, welcome to the channel. Like I said, I try to share some things. Hopefully that was me not talking during all the single hits of the drum set. And if you need to rewind the video and then like sample from that moment on, I know I talk a lot and I'm sorry, but that's part of the stream too, is having somebody tell you what's kind of going on, right? So that whole thing I did in one color, so I know that this is all part of that, 110 BPM thing, right? So, or 100 BPMs. And so what I'll do now is I'm going to duplicate lanes. So I know everything there is at that 100. And I'm going to make sure all of these ones are kind of near that crap, like up here, So I just try to stay organized by going, okay, all my tempos of 100 in this loop thing are up here. And anything that's not is down at the bottom is going to be like 80 and below, right? So now Command I is the shortcut to insert scenes. So anytime I need more scenes this way, I just do Command I. And again, that whole process, and again, I'm just hoping I teach somebody or someone out there what I kind of do in this process. The thing I've learned in the years of recording drums is that 3 microphones have been my secret weapon because it's like kick, snare, overhead. And if I'm a groove player, that's kind of like what you're keying in on. The fills are minimalized, and going over the edge with adding 2 more mics for tom-toms. The other secret that I do in this recording chain, or what I'm doing, just so everybody kind of knows, the secret weapon is using 500 series onboard gear, outboard gear to record my drums. So I use Radial. They're the Radial 500 series. They have these ones that are called EQ pre and comp pre, and it's a preamp and a compressor in one, and a preamp and an EQ in one. I use the preamp compressor ones on the kick and the snare, and I use the preamp and EQ on the overheads. So I kind of treat things on the inside before Ableton, before the plugins, and that allows me to like kind of soft clip while I'm recording analog, not digital. So everything on the digital end never seems, quote unquote, and I'm just going to make, yeah, see how none of this ever clips? And I'm hitting that. The preamp in my recording interface is not turned up at all. I'm not using any, the noise floor on that preamp is as low as I can make it. So Joseph's recording technique 101 is that I slam a 500 series input like an analog mixing console on purpose, and I also sum with my Radial because I have a secret weapon that is a summing mixer somewhere inside of there as well. So I can kind of sum it if I want. This time I did not, because I'm summing it in the group of Ableton. I'm not summing it analog. I'm summing it digitally when I bring it down. Now, when I'm inside of Ableton, the only thing I do is an acoustic kick compressor, a classic compressor on the snare, and the overhead I do the compressor that's called Mix Gel, and these are all presets that are built in Ableton. Literally, you can steal my drum sound. I'm not joking. And on the drum set side, I use a light drum bus with a little bit of the transients turned up to about 0.32 on the transient side. And 10.8 kilohertz is where the damp is starting. So 10.8, I think anything above that, I don't know if my studio is really that clean. So I kind of cut it at that. And then I do 11% of a room reverb, and I do the intimate space setting. So that's a preset in Ableton's hybrid reverb. It's just like intimate space. I think Ableton Studio backwards was the first one. So that, and then I do a limiter on the end of the channel. The drums themselves, if you looked at my overmeters, never go above like, I think -1 or maybe, So everything in Ableton is always at that like -1 point, and then it's -3 on the when I'm sampling it. So this never really gets that loud. I can turn it up and add like, it's like a little bit of noise, whatever. But a lot of times I'm not trying to destroy the input. I could even go up to like -2 on the next take. And I'm always trying to mix dynamically. And that means that it breathes, that it's not just that tunnel of too big. And sometimes I see people's sample packs and they're like, meh, meh, and I'm like, dude, seriously? Let's take a listen to one of my loops now. So that's just a fill, right? And we can always chop that up. I'm not going to chop it right now, but let's listen. Let's see if I got... So there's just like a drum roll, right? So anybody who samples, this stuff's kind of fun. That's like this dumb prog shuffle crap I'm working on. So the real beat, I think, was... And I tried to shut up there. You could steal that too, right? So these are my loops. This is how I do all my work, right? I'm sharing all my secrets. Now, I'm going to do the next one. It's 80 beats per minute. And we're going to take our next loop. Now, The other thing I don't know if anybody's kind of paying attention to as I was drumming, and this might be part of like a drum lesson for anyone who's very new at what drummers do. I'm always just looking to count 1, 2, 3, 4, if that's what the beat is asking for. Sometimes beats count differently. And I'm always leading towards the end of a bar or two to have a little bit of a pickup, a fill, a ghost note. Now, I told everyone to go look at the Pocket Queen's channel because she has taught me by far that staying on rhythm and staying in the same groove over and over is better than me trying to dazzle everybody with these fills that are just utter garbage. And I'm not saying that anyone else out there is doing utter garbage fills. I'm commenting on myself because sometimes my fills when I'm excited just don't even turn out right. And if I'm trying to play keyboard or make a song or have someone come into my studio and sing, it's a little easier for me to have them sing over a groove and not sing over a mess of fills. Okay, so once you have the song written, then maybe you can do fills once everybody's on board with the way everything's going. But when I'm doing like pre-production, when I'm doing my songwriter bits, and when I'm helping anybody finish a record in the studio, the idea that these ways of working, staying in the groove, actually make you get, I think, more work done. So shout out to the Pocket Queen for just being an amazing mentor on the internet and sharing everything that she does, because I don't think I'd be as tight in the groove if I didn't study what she's kind of emulating. Okay, so let's do it up again. And this is just me getting started. Let me see where this is at. Okay, without having to go to new sets in Ableton. So if you're ever wondering, you can look up that function as well. Yeah, it was just me talking crap. Sorry. Hold on a second. I messed something up there. I could just tell. In Ableton that says show the tempo in the scene. That's how I change tempo and just keep jumping from different ones without having to go to new sets in Ableton. So if you're ever wondering, you can look up that function as well. Yeah, me teaching while we do this. Sorry. There we go. I think I moved one of the playheads without moving all three of them, so it just everything was off. It still sounded cool, not intention. So here's what we did before. I'm recording it on the 5 from a mix sound. Okay, I try to be quiet that whole time. again to let everybody steal my samples. Hopefully that gives you some inspiration. And again, this is just me mixing down. I haven't even cut any of these, right? So the idea that what I'm working on right now is busy work, you know? I'm going to tell anybody this is what you do in the studio if you're trying to be productive. I don't just write great songs overnight, okay? I practice a lot. I play a lot of different rhythms. I test these rhythms against different guitar parts or different piano parts. So the process of writing music is like, it's constant, you know? I'm not like saying to everybody that like some great songs get written in 5 minutes, but sometimes it takes you years of developing techniques so that you know what you're going to play over top of, if that would make any sense. So what I tell everybody is my process is kind of tireless. I just love making drum loops. I just love it. It is literally... Oh my God. Okay. I tried to not talk that whole entire time, to be honest, because yeah, stealing samples kind of is what this is about. Now, I might have been ahead of the beat or a little bit of behind the beat on some of the takes there. If you want, like I said, you could rewind and you can sample me at different points in the drumming. You can put that in an SP404. You could put that in a OPXY. You could put that in a OP1. You could put that in an Electron box. Like the idea that I am showing you my creative process again. And this is drum basics. So this is how I start anything in the studio. Now that I had a day to work today, like on music, now what I use is this as the base to what I do. All right. To any song I'm going to write. And the chop, not to be weird, chop, whatever. I'm going to hit save first. So file, save live set as, and I'm going to say 326. 25, 26, 25. Stream drumming. Okay, so this is just me. Go to my Ableton file. I touch a folder that's outside of it, Ableton files. Saving in Ableton is very important. You don't want to save in the same set. So you see I have all these sets. I don't have everything saved in the same set. I always go to the folder I want to save, and I'm going to say stream drumming, save. Sorry. And now I'm going to say collect all and save. And I just do that because everything's in the same spot now. Now I saved to external hard drives. And now here comes another one of my really big secrets, right? So this last loop that I took is a pretty good loop. I know it's easy going. So I can say in Ableton that says show the tempo in the scene. That's how I change tempo. All right, so this is our loop. Do you hear that weird thump at the beginning? So this is just like one cool thing that happens when you sample. It's like the beginning of the end of a drum hit or something, right? But I like that. I like some kind of mess up. And now I put a MIDI track, right? And now I got my keyboards, the ones I like, the ones Joseph's piano. I made one. Get ready? 1, 2. Here's my loop. Ready? So maybe this, shows you this is where my loops start to lead. Now, I don't try to do this all on the same day because right now I'm getting kind of mushy in the ear and I've been just like writing the same loop and I'm ready to do something else. And my brain kind of reacts like that. I think like every like 10 minutes I like to change it up. So I didn't want to like keep everybody like bored and me writing like the next thing. But now you have seen in proof that I just wrote like a bass line and a key line or whatever, that these loops actually start to help you write music, right? Now, later, I can go back and get rid of the drum loop and play my real drums over the loop of keys I made now because I use my real drums to make the idea. And now I can elongate the way I play. I can change the way I feel. I can make like a chorus and a verse. I can make a more chill part. It doesn't have to be the same loop over and over again. The other thing that I could do is I could slice the drums up. All right, so now this was just like a loop I made, but if you right-click the drum loop that I have here, and any of the ones you made, if you chopped it from stream, you could say slice to new MIDI track, right? So you do it by transients, and then you have a drum set that is basically whoever, me, the drummer, whoever your buddy was, somebody that came over. Sorry. Sorry, just being a goof. All right, well, hopefully that inspires you to turn on YouTube and sample a drummer. Hint, me, someone you like, some style you want to hear, some drum set that you love, right? And you want to get into that fact that when you sample it, you take short nuggets, you can chop them into MIDI, use this small loop to maybe play your drum machine over top of the drum to inspire you to make a new beat from what another drummer inspired you to do. So a lot of times with drumming and me, I learn from watching other drummers. There are some great ones out in the world that you could watch online and study from. I use the Pocket Queen as a reference today, so shout out, girl. You're doing great work, and I just appreciate you in the drum community and everything you share. So much love there, and thank you so much for everything you do, because I don't know how many people know how much you do. If you just watch a couple of your videos, if you don't get better at drummer from watching her, I don't know what you're doing. So go over, watch her channel, watch what she's doing, give her a subscription. Hey, like and subscribe this channel too if you want to learn more about my production techniques and how I share drums with the world. And I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. I'm going to get off the stream now. This was a little bit longer than I intended, but this was a lot of work, and I want to show you what work goes into it, because maybe this helps you feel like, oh, I see, his music isn't just great in 10 minutes. This takes me like a week to write a great song that everybody's like, man, your production work's kicking it. I love it. What'd you do? I'm like, I took a week to like sample and work and chop and make my stuff sound right. My production work too, a lot of techniques that I like to watch is, Mr. Bill is just crushing it. So if you haven't gone over to his channel for production techniques and for the way music works, like, you should be studying that guy's stuff too. There's just a lot of people that are sharing techniques. I think even Laura Escade's channel, she blows me away too. She shares like small little tips to help you like work in small workflows. Anyone that's sharing workflow tips with you is trying to get you off of the internet, meaning like off of your doom scrolling, and maybe we're trying to create a safe space for study scrolling, I'm going to call it, because I'm trying to fill my channel with study scrolling instead of, I don't know, stuff that doesn't like make much sense. So hopefully if you need more information, you can comment in the channel. If there were things that weren't making sense, you can send me an email. If you want to look up some of the people that I mentioned, if you need me to send you links, I'm here to help with the resource. And always let me know, if there's anything more you want to see on the stream. I've been in and out of streaming a lot because like my sinuses have been crushed this spring. I just feel really bad. So it's just taken me some time to get motivated and not feel super sick. So anybody who's been watching, thank you, and anybody who's learning off the channel, I appreciate you gathering information online. So everybody have a great Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.